Before anyone could react, the man was completely enveloped by the army of man-eating ants in just an instant. The soldier, completely unable to fight back, was carried into the cave by the swarm of man-eating ants. Watching this extremely terrifying scene, Max could do nothing about it. After all, facing such a large number of threats, there was simply nothing he could do. Right at that moment, a soldier drove up in time and rescued Sang. Everyone had originally planned to escape this place immediately, yet the next second the man-eating ants that sensed the movement began to stir again. What felt eerie was that the man-eating ants then seemed to see something terrifying and actually began dodging and fleeing to both sides. Clearly they were avoiding Max. The reason for this was entirely because of the alien crystal skull that the man was holding in his arms at that moment. Coincidentally, right then Max's teammates also drove up. Seeing this, the man hurriedly picked up the old man who had collapsed on the ground and without a word sent him into the car first. Unexpectedly, the military vehicle ahead suddenly stopped. They threw down ropes from above and began rappelling down one by one. Seeing this, the group instantly grew tense because at that moment they did not have such sophisticated equipment. They were about to reach a bottomless abyss. Max had planned to tell the woman to brake right then, yet Jade refused to listen to the advice and directly floored the accelerator, charging down the cliff. Fortunately, the large trees below acted as a buffer, allowing everyone to turn the danger into safety with only a scare. Yet before the group could even recover, the next second Jade once again floored the accelerator hard. The moment the vehicle entered the water, that large tree suddenly rebounded and on the spot swept all the soldiers who were still climbing hard down to the bottom of the cliff. Only at this moment did Max realize that everything had actually been within Jade's calculations. Just as the group was preparing to escape, the next second the old man was shocked to discover. Hearing the old man's words, the others hurriedly looked forward and sure enough discovered that another drop-off point had appeared only a short distance away. They had planned to reverse, yet they could not overcome the speed of the water current, which was simply too fast. In the end, the group could only watch helplessly as the boat flew straight down from the waterfall. Although this left them completely soaked, thanks to the boat's extremely durable quality they managed to reach the bottom with only a scare. The old man explained that this was the literal meaning, representing that they would continue to fall once more. Sure enough, in the blink of an eye the group immediately arrived at the third drop point. No one expected that in such a short time they would experience 3 major drops one after another without any preparation. Next, the group followed the river channel beside them and arrived inside a cave. Seeing that it was growing increasingly dark inside, Max immediately lit a torch and took the lead walking in. As the group gradually went deeper, Max soon discovered a strange painting on the stone wall not far away. While everyone was studying what this meant, the old man saw another one not far away, and what was painted did not look like a scene from Earth. Seeing this, the man seemed to suddenly realize something. He hurriedly took off the pouch hanging on his body and then took out the crystal alien skull he had obtained earlier. Following the direction of the old man's gaze, the image on the mural at that moment also became increasingly clear. Only at this moment did Max suddenly realize that perhaps here they could find the secret hidden behind this crystal skull. After hearing this, the old man immediately understood and then slowly raised the skull, matching it with the skull in the mural. Only at this moment did they finally understand that the creator of this thing was an alien from an extraterrestrial civilization. What surprised everyone even more was that there was not just one such alien on the mural here, and based on their positions it could be guessed that at that time some kind of mysterious ritual was being held. In order to figure out the secret behind this skull, the group then continued walking deeper into the ruins. Yet what no one expected was that at that moment their movements had already been completely monitored and recorded. Not long after Max's group had just left, the stone wall they had just passed began to loosen continuously. Large numbers of indigenous people slowly drilled out from inside and then followed after them. Fortunately, the group that heard the sounds chose to stand in place and only then saw such a terrifying scene. They were so frightened that without a word they immediately ran for their lives toward the outside. Seeing the attacks from behind beginning to arrive one after another, the group had no choice but to speed up their evacuation. Otherwise, once a fight started, with just a few of them they simply could not contend with such a large number of indigenous people. Yet even though the group was this fast, they still could not match the indigenous people who had the support of weapons. In just the blink of an eye they were attacked one after another by the weapons and collapsed to the ground. With Max's capture, the group at that moment was clearly like lambs waiting to be slaughtered and could only allow themselves to be dealt with. At the critical moment, Max hurriedly ran to the old man's side, seeing that the indigenous people were about to strike a fatal blow. Yet in the blink of an eye they stopped their movements and retreated with faces full of terror. As the old man stood up, he raised that crystal skull high. Seeing this, the indigenous people seemed as if they had encountered ghosts. They all dodged the skull, terrified of being touched and infected with misfortune. Relying on the power of this divine artifact, the group hurriedly rescued all their companions nearby and then turned and left this place of trouble. Following the temple in front of them, the group immediately continued climbing. Fortunately, the indigenous people at that moment had no intention of pursuing them, so they could climb to the highest level with peace of mind. Yet soon the group instantly realized a problem. After looking around in all directions, everywhere was a scene of broken walls and ruins. Just when Max thought they had gone the wrong way, the old man firmly believed they had not gone wrong and that the crystal skull in his hand must be the key to open it. After speaking, the old man began searching for the entrance while circling the stone pillars. Sure enough, enough, after the man's careful groping, the next second he suddenly discovered a strange stone from which large amounts of fine sand were continuously flowing. Max then picked up a large rock from behind and without a word struck down. Seeing that the man was achieving results, the others dared not delay either, and each took up stones and began striking as well. In just the blink of an eye, all the stone statues embedded on the outside were pulled out one by the group. Next, Max was shocked to discover that the giant rock above that had lost its support began slowly falling downward. As all the yellow sand flowed out, the stone bridge above them also began to tilt upward and the 4 stone pillars began to converge like closing flowers. The next second, the ground under everyone's feet suddenly became hollow and they followed the flowing sand and fell into an unknown space. Seeing this, the group dared not hesitate and immediately began running downward rapidly, because the stone pillars under their feet at that moment had already begun contracting rapidly. Fortunately, the group was not very high from the ground, so they finally reached the bottom with only a scare. After a simple rest, the group then began advancing toward deeper territory. In just the blink of an eye, everyone arrived at a place filled with a large number of statues. From these things it could be seen that they were fine works from all over the world, representing the most advanced technology on Earth at the time. If the group successfully brought out even one piece from here, it would cause a collective shock in the antique world. Although this was very tempting, Max knew deeply that there was an even more valuable treasure behind it. As the old man took out that crystal skull, the surrounding things immediately began to make sounds. The man instantly understood that behind the door must be hidden the ultimate key to unlock this skull. Sure enough, the next second the crystal skull resonated and emitted a strange sound. Seeing this, Max without a word hurriedly held it and embedded it into the recessed place on the stone wall. The moment the man placed it on, the mechanism began peeling off one after another in a chain reaction, and in an instant a passageway suddenly appeared from the stone wall. Seeing this, the group dared not hesitate and immediately continued exploring inside. The moment he entered, Max was shocked beyond measure by the scene before his eyes. The scene from the mural earlier had actually been completely restored here. 16 alien corpses sat upright in the center, looking as if they were performing some kind of ritual. Among them, one corpse happened to be missing its head, and clearly this was exactly the object the old man was holding. Who would have thought that just as the group was preparing to place it on top, an accident occurred. Max never expected that among the team he had carefully selected there was still a spy hidden. Right at that moment, the long-lurking Sang also walked out from behind. The woman, the moment she stepped in here, was also deeply shocked by the scene before her eyes. Sang believed that as long as he could successfully transport these corpses back, his country's technology would grow at rocket speed. The only thing now was to quickly and successfully return the missing head to its place. After speaking, the woman snatched the skull from the old man's hands in one grab, then alone slowly walked forward to the front of the throne and piously offered the skull. Who would have thought that the moment it approached, the skull seemed to possess consciousness and automatically recombined. Right in front of everyone, the originally lifeless corpse actually recovered its vitality like this. Before they could realize what had happened, the next second all the crystal corpses present began to make sounds. It looked as if some terrifying scene was about to appear. Sure enough, the next second a mountain collapsing, earth-shattering tremor immediately swept over, accompanied by the disintegration of the stone blocks on the walls. The walls under everyone's feet and around the aliens actually began to rotate violently. Everyone instantly realized that they were at that moment inside an alien spaceship. From the rotation speed above, it seemed they were preparing to restart the spaceship and leave Earth. Facing this sudden situation, the group hurriedly turned and began to flee, otherwise once they followed along they would definitely fall into an irreversible predicament. Sure enough, the moment Max's group had just fled out of this temple, the next second they suddenly discovered that the ground had already begun to collapse. Before the group could recover, a high-speed rotating spaceship slowly rose from the ground. Accompanied by short explosive sounds, it dragged the aliens and instantly disappeared, leaving only countless falling rocks smashing toward the ground. Only at this moment did everyone realize that this treasure hunting journey of theirs had in the end only been a farewell ceremony after awakening the aliens. Although in the end they did not obtain any substantial treasure, being able to personally witness such a fantastical spectacle was for the group also a precious alternative experience.